New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Hello and welcome back to Global Focus Today. I am Reverend Dr. Sharri Johnson, your host, and our guest today is Reverend Jerry Hobby of Spiritual Enlightenment and Truth Focus Ministry. I want to tell you a little bit about this remarkable lady. She is an ordained minister with Centers for Spiritual Living, and she is celebrated for her visionary insights, dynamic speaking, and unwavering commitment to awakening spiritual magnificence. She's the spiritual director of Spiritual Enlightenment and Truth Focus Ministry, which is based in Gridley, California. And she champions practical spirituality. Practical spirituality. That's the stuff that actually works for you in your day-to-day life. And she does this in a virtual setting. Her philosophy revolves around setting people up for success by teaching the science of mind and reinforcing these timeless principles in everyday life. Through her unwavering dedication, she continues to foster personal and collective spiritual growth and empowerment. And the empowerment part is the part I love. She's the author of the 30-day experiment of releasing the old and embracing the new, and creator of the Prayerful Heart app. And we're going to talk a little more about both of those things. She's also a founding member of People of African Descent New Thought Group, which is called PADNGT. The first time I saw that, I went, Paddington, what's she doing with a teddy bear? And then I realized it was an acronym. Additionally, she produced the inspiring play, The Key, an inner guide to a higher vibration, which was adapted into a movie on Vimeo on demand. So please help me welcome Reverend Jerry Hobby. Thank you so much for saying yes to be here. I'm so excited to hear so much about what you're doing.
Well, thank you. I'm so honored to be here.
Well, the first thing I want to know is, what I didn't mention is that pretty soon, just a couple more months, you're going to be right here where I am at Unity Village doing the biennial retreat for People of African Descent's New Thought Group. And it's called Celebrating Our Soul. I love the whole idea of celebrating our soul. So tell us about that, please.
Oh my goodness. That's such a wonderful, I'm excited about it. I can't wait to get to Missouri. I'm looking forward to it and walking the grounds of Unity Village. We started this about 4 years ago. We had been at a conference and we received a call. It was at the CSL conference in Colorado. And we received a call from a minister at Unity, and they said they wanted to get together and they wanted to work on a project together. And so we gathered after we went into lockdown because of COVID, and we gathered. A group of ministers got together from various New Thought organizations, and we came together and we gave birth to People of African Descent, the People of African Descent New Thought Group. And you just about have it right. We decided to call ourselves Pageant. That's what we call it. Mm-hmm. And so we got together. we started to do some work. We started visioning, we started praying about it, and we started considering where we would want to hold this event. And as we sorted out through that whole process, 2 years later, we gave birth to the Celebrating Our Soul conference, which took place at Unity Village. And it was something that many people thought it could not take place because there was so much that needed to be done. But we got an opportunity to prove these principles and the practical side of it. That's my take on it. The practical side and the practical application. Anything is possible. We just have to. We were talking earlier about narrowing our focus. And as a result of that, we had the most wonderful event. And I feel that it was a healing event for us. And here we are 2 years later, and we're preparing for our 2024 Celebrating Our Soul event. And our theme is consciously creating change. And we're going to be focusing on different areas. We're going to be focusing on health and wholeness. We're going to be working on relationships, our relationship with God, ourselves, and with others. We're going to be focusing also on sacred activism as well as prosperity. Those are the four things. And we're looking at how we can consciously create change. And we have a lot of wonderful people that are going to be supporting this event. We're going to be having panels. It is going to be an extraordinary event. And I'm hoping that as many people as possible, we still have some spaces that are left for the event, and we're inviting people to come and participate. And for those that are unable to travel, I've had some conversations with some people because of health reasons. We will also have an online portion available also for people. So that's the good news.
Oh, I loved that. I was at the first event as a volunteer, and it was just amazing. The panels were fabulous. The music was fabulous. The people who were there were like, if you made mountains of spirituality, they used to be the folks who were living on the tippy tops.
Mm-hmm.
You spoke, and you can't see it, but I'm getting God bumps remembering 2 years ago at that conference. So I can hardly wait till it happens again. And I live 12 minutes from Unity Village, so I know about it.
I know, and I'm looking forward to. I haven't seen you since. It's been a while since we've seen each other.
I did we get to at least hug once at Parliament?
We did get a chance to hug at Parliament.
That was about it.
So, and I'm excited because there are a lot of great things. And the new news, of course, is that the Science Mine Archive is being established there. So I am just every morning I wake up and I start to think because we're 8 weeks out, and I'm so excited about that whole process. And yesterday I spent some time. Part of my job. I am the I'm going to call myself the project manager for and youth coordinator. That's my job, to be the project manager for that. And I was hanging out with some of our youth that were grooming for leadership through this thing we call the COS, Celebrating Our Soul Youth Academy. And we're predisposing them to these things, those different things, and we're grooming them and getting them ready because we have to pass the baton. Ernest Holmes passed the baton, Charles Fillmore, they all passed the baton, and that's part of that process. So we're grooming them and getting them ready to step into those spaces. And I told him, I said, I can't wait till we get together because I want to play. I'm like a little kid. I want to come and I want to play. I was talking to these teenagers.
Lots of places to play at Unity Village. They have one thing on May 6th of last year was the grand opening of the largest mosaic labyrinth on the North American continent, and it's at Unity Village.
Absolutely. And we have plans.
It's phenomenal. And they have, not only are the Science of Mind archives now there, but INTA is moving their archives to Unity
Are
Village.
they really? I did not know that. I'm all excited.
I am 12 minutes away, and I have the One Heart Metaphysical Research Library, which recently received a grant from the Library of Congress. So I've hired an intern so that we can get all the books on the shelves so that people can come here when they're here for the conference too.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Well, I guess this is the hub of New Thought now.
I believe that's how I think of Unity Village, as the hub of New Thought.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. That is extraordinary. This is we're in a very fertile time, I think, with New Thought. It is a fertile time where we all get an opportunity to support change, and I think that we've been called for this moment to show up in the world, to be a beneficial presence, and how rich and how wonderful that we have these wonderful opportunities. And I'm truly grateful. I'm grateful for unity being a stabilizing force for us, for all of New Thought everywhere. Hmm.
And I wanted to say that the purpose of this show is to help people learn about focus ministry.
Hmm.
So I spend a lot of time explaining what on earth is focus ministry. And what I usually say is that spirituality is like everything else in existence. It's constantly expanding and evolving. In practical terms, what that means is that there are as many valid spiritual paths on this planet as there are people on this planet. And if we're going to support them as ministers, well, then we have to diversify. So my question is, what made you decide to be a focus minister, and how did you decide what you wanted your focus ministry to look like?
Okay, well, for me, I had an experience. I had actually served in a traditional type of church for many, many years. I received my first letter of call, and that first letter of call was to be a staff minister at a church. It was a Center for Spiritual Living. It was then called through United Church of Religious Science. And then, of course, we evolved and became Centers for Spiritual Living. And we continued to merge into this space of oneness, kind of sort of like what's happening with New Thought right now. But the interesting part of that whole process was and I started out with a letter of call as a youth minister, and I was a staff minister. I served and was the assistant to the senior minister. It was Reverend Mary Louise Ruffner. And my role evolved and it continued to evolve. And eventually I was an assistant minister. And then we came to a point where the universe says you can't, Ernest Holmes says spirit will not allow you to stay in one place at the same time. It's just natural that we evolve. So we moved through a transformation. And for me, it was a challenging time because I loved what I was doing. I really did love what I was doing. And, but I was being called to step into something even greater. And when that opportunity came, I looked and I surveyed the many different choices that were available to me. And what happened was, I said, I know this thing about starting from scratch, starting from the beginning. And I'm looking at everything we need to consider, the overhead, the entire process of what it took to get into this. I said, I know how to do this. I know how to do this. I'm going to start to vision and do my prayer work. But I think I'm going to move into focus ministry. So I got a group of people together, and everybody's heard the story about how Agape started, how they sat in the living room and they visioned around this ministry. Pretty much, we did the same thing. And that gave birth to what we call now spiritual enlightenment and truth, a focused ministry. And from there, that was how we started. So we started in that particular way. And our thought was that we get to focus on the things that are very important for people, spiritual practice. And our thought too, and everybody focuses on spiritual practice. I don't want to take away from anyone. But part of our process was we wanted to create something that would support them because the world has changed. We do not have the same church that we had back in the 1800s or the 1900s. We're in the 21st century. And because the world has changed, we have so many choices and different things that we can do. And so I believe that spirituality and our practices should not interfere with our doing life. And so we created this program, and we offer something every day to support people in staying on task. There's something that's offered every day of the week. And at the same time, our intention is not to interfere or interrupt what's going on in your life because you may be out there having the time of your life at your favorite, I'm going to say basketball game now because it's basketball season and they're having the playoffs. So my husband loves that. Or you may be working on something that is very important, but it's there. It's a tool that you get to use to support you in your evolution, your growth. You're showing up in the world as a beneficial presence. That's the purpose of this ministry, and that's the reason we established it in that way. And I'm so grateful. I think that our timing was impeccable. And when I say the timing was impeccable, we were just basically getting started and establishing ourselves. And you remember back then, because we were both doing focused ministry, and we were sharing about our ministries. But I think that in recent years, we've got an opportunity to see how it can bless and benefit people in wonderful ways. We have extraordinary programs. One of the programs is we have an app. It's called the Prayerful Heart app. If you're going through something in your life, we have a curator of the app, and we receive your prayer requests. We will pray for you over a course of 2 weeks, and you can send in as many prayers as possible. And it was inspired by our experience. I'm going to say our experience, our team, our Purple Heart team, our experience as we were growing into this through the ministry of prayer, through Science of Mind, through the Unity Village and their prayer line. All of those things there inspired this. So what you can do is you can just send in a prayer request. If you want to, you can go to the app or visit our YouTube channel, and you can receive a prayer, an inspired prayer to support you in moving through what you're moving through. And we write letters to you. I like to call them love notes. We send you love notes knowing that you are supported with whatever it is you're moving through, because prayer does change our lives and it supports us in our growth. So there's a lot going on, but we have a
You
great
know what I
plan.
have noticed is that whenever I have asked for prayer, no matter who I was asking, whether it was a friend who happened to be a minister, whether it was a family member because it was a family thing, whether it was calling Unity Village or the ministry of prayer, the minute that person said, "How can I help you?" The minute that person said, "How can I pray with you?" It was like the weight of the world just lifted off and floated away.
Mm-hmm.
And there is something magical about no matter how much we pray ourselves. We don't pray all day, every day. I'm a minister, for Pete's sake. But no matter how much we pray ourselves, there is something absolutely magical and freeing and with a tremendous blessing about knowing that somebody else is praying for you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
There's not any gift you can give anyone that will make them feel more relief more quickly than saying, I'm praying with you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I love that. I love that. So what other kinds of programs do you have besides the Prayerful Heart?
Oh, we have so many different things. We offer morning meditations every morning, 7 o'clock Pacific time. Um, we have
It's 5 o'clock in the morning here.
It is 5 o'clock in the morning. Yes, yes. I just had a conversation with the Celebrating Our Soul team, and we were talking about, they're saying, well, we're getting closer to the event. We need to have a morning prayer every morning. I said, yeah, and we need to figure out how to make it work for everyone. We've got to find the perfect timing because we're on all these different time zones.
Well, isn't it wonderful that there aren't any time zones where there's nobody interested in celebrating our soul? I mean,
Yeah.
good.
So, but we start at 7 o'clock in the morning, and people are waiting. And we also, throughout and this is offered 6 days a week. This is Monday through Saturday. We wake up, um, we have our morning meditation, we set the tone for the day, and then we go out into the world and we show up as a blessing. But this is part of how we anchor ourselves before we go out into the world. And we've been doing this for, it's been a while. This program, we've been doing this, I think we started in 2019. And it is something that people love to do. And so periodically throughout the week, we will come live. And this is the great part for those that miss that um, that 7 o'clock window. You have me thinking 5 o'clock now for you, but that
Actually, I got it backwards. 7 o'clock for me is 5 o'clock for you.
absolutely. So that's 9 o'clock because we're the last ones. Yes. So what happens is for those that miss it, we do come live on YouTube, and there is also a recording. So we have some recordings. I think the other day we were live, and that meditation focused around forgiveness. And right now we're utilizing the book. I always use an anchored reading. And the book that we're using right now, and I have it right here, Your Needs Met by Jack and Cornelia Addington, one of my favorite authors. And they've done some extraordinary work. Today we focused on freedom, which is which was a wonderful meditation. So we offer that. My husband, Larry Hobby, who's our practitioner emeritus, on Wednesday, he offers a book study. It's an expanding consciousness book study. And that is offered on our Facebook page, or you can come into our Zoom room and join us. When you visit us at Spiritual Enlightenment and Truth, or S.E.A.T. our website, it gives you those links where you can come in and visit us. It is a wonderful book study, and right now he's working with Neville Goddard and his entire series, which is really, really good. And everyone that attends there saying, "Oh, I really love this. This is really, really good." And sometimes what happens is it becomes so inspiring that it spills over because we have this thing we call Power 8 groups. And we actually have two Power 8 groups. We have a Power 8 Peace group, which meets on Mondays, and that is offered by Reverend Victoria Bumbary. And many of you are familiar with Reverend Victoria Bumbary. She's been leading this Power 8 Peace group for many, many years. And so we offer that. And then on Wednesday evenings at 8 o'clock, I always say this is the time where you get to really work with yourself before you go to sleep. And I call it a time where you can have, back in the day, we used to talk about having a hot toddy before going to bed. And so this is our version of hot toddies, where we come together and we have a Power 8 prosperity prayer group. And that prayer group, we focus on our lives. Not only are we focusing on our lives, but we also focus on all of humanity. So part of our work is to support a shift in taking place everywhere, not just for ourselves, but everywhere for everyone. And from there, we ask some profound questions because we're working on shaping our consciousness. And then we have our curator, who is Jim Thompson. And Jim offers a noontime sound meditation on Thursdays. And we are back to back. On Wednesdays, I will just come on Facebook and offer a meditation for people to just take a break and just be still. And then he offers the sound meditation on Thursdays. So we do that back to back. And then we're all focused always about engaging people in terms of spiritual practice. So part of that includes promoting different things. And part of that includes the movie, The Key, The Inner Guide to a Higher Vibration, which was written by one of our practitioners, Reverend Dr. Renee Hart. And it was inspired by all the different things that were happening in the world and the prayer work and all the things that were going on. So part of my backstory includes me serving as an interim minister at a church, and that was at Centers for Spiritual Living Inland Empire. And I came in to serve at a very difficult time in their lives and their history. They were dealing with the sudden passing of their minister. Part of my work was to really support them in healing and getting prepared for their next minister. And during that time period, part of that, what happened was they had a lot of great things happening at the center, but the center was an old center, and there were different things. For example, they had problems with their roof, and I'd come in and never knew what was going to happen. And part of your job as a minister is always, when you come in, you serve. You're in sacred service. So I needed to come in and be prepared. If I needed to mop up the water from the roof, the black stuff coming in, we had to do that. And we were serving the community. So we decided to put together a program called Raise the Roof. And when we put that program together, we did a lot of prayer work. We did some visioning. And at that time, Reverend Dr. Renee Hart brought this playful. And it was The Key, The Inner Guide to a Higher Vibration. And from there, we were able to replace the roof. We talk about the practical application of these principles. We were able to demonstrate or manifest something wonderful. And as a result of that, it also evolved into a movie. So we offer that movie. It's a movie that we offer on Vimeo. So we have a lot of great things that are happening in our community, and those are just a few of the things. Visioning is a very
You
important
your
part.
eyes, Steph. You are juggling a chainsaw, a bowling ball, and a raw egg. Where did you find the time to come up with celebrating your soul? I mean, wow.
We have fun.
The celebrating our soul is such a powerful thing, but it didn't happen by accident.
No, it
And
did.
detail had to be dealt with, and somehow. So where did Celebrating Our Soul come from? How did you come up with that idea, and where did it come from, and how did you get all these people together, and what's it like working with an interfaith group to build a retreat?
Oh my gosh, such a wonderful thing. And I shared with you earlier that a group of people got together. We received a call. We happened to be at a CSL conference, our annual CSL conference in Colorado, and one of the ministers from Unity gave us a call and said they wanted to get together with us. And the reason they wanted to get together with us is they've been working together, and they were moving through and coping with different things that were happening in the world. So they get together and they pray, and they kept saying, we need to come together in a different way. And they were remembering some of the events that had taken place in the past, how ministers of African descent had gotten together and they brought their groups together and they did some wonderful things, like a picnic celebration. And so we, during our moving into COVID, a whole bunch of people got together. We didn't know each other. We had never met each other, but we made an agreement that we wanted to do this. And the first thing that came up was, it was Reverend Celeste Frazier. She says, well, if we're going to do it, I tell you, the most important thing for me is that we start first with visioning. And of course, I was in alignment with her with that idea of visioning. So we started to vision and we started to plan. And it took us 2 years to do that. In that whole process, we got an opportunity to bond. And what I found is that my tribe, I have a big tribe of people. You're part of my tribe, of course. We've spent many years together, praying together, and doing a lot of great things together. The same thing happened with this group. And so, as a result of that, we created something extraordinary. And the first time we met in person was at that Celebrating Our Soul event in 2022. That was our first time seeing each other in person and spending time. But we spent and invested many hours. Thank God for technology.
Yeah.
Thank God for technology. It just connects us in just rich and very powerful ways. And we're very, very close. We're all very close knitted. We all work together and we're very supportive. And that's the blessing. That's the blessing of this.
There was a tremendous sense of flow when I was there. Everything, the volunteer organization, the sashes that they made. It was just amazing. Little details that could very easily have fallen through the cracks just didn't. I was very impressed. I was.
Yes. And
okay, I have 5 questions that I ask all my guests. So I'm going to ask you the first one. It's the one the guests like best. And that is there anything that you want our listeners to know, to hear, that I haven't asked you about?
Let me think through that. Let me think through that. I think that the most important thing that would be for many listeners that will support them is, what is your go-to when you're moving through a difficult time? And I think that's a very important part. And I'm going to say that my go-to is to go to my favorite spiritual practices. And I have 12 favorite spiritual practices. And there's ultimately one that will support me. And I'll give you an example. You'll notice sometimes I'm nurturing this arm. I strained it. I was out there and I was sharing with you earlier I'd been outside working with the landscaping, and I actually did participate in a deeper way that I'd never ever done before. I actually got down and nailed tarp into the ground and all of those things there. Well, as a result of that, I've been experiencing a little dis-ease. I probably pulled the muscle and overdid it. But I'm going to say to you, the thing that helps me the most, Ernest Holmes says a pillar of prayer doesn't matter. That's part of the process of healing. For me, that prayer part really helps. When I'm doing my prayer work, if I'm experiencing something, it takes away, it deflects from whatever it is I'm moving through, and it helps that healing process. And I want to encourage people, if you're going through any type of having any physical challenges, make sure you work with the experts. But for me, having a team of sacred healers is an important part of it. And my sacred healers include my doctors. They also include my team in terms of prayer. So bringing all of those pieces together is an important part. So when I think about integrated medicine, the spiritual practice part is an important part of that process. And I think that's something people would like to know. How do you deal with those challenging things? Going back to the spiritual practice, just a way of life. Mhm.
Cool. Okay, here's the next one. And you've seen me grinning because you've been answering this question and the next one all along, but I'm still going to ask it. I mean, seriously, you'll laugh. How does what you do at Seed FM, how you be at Seed FM, how does that encourage, enhance, develop, support, pick your own verb, conscious evolution?
Mm. Oh my God. Well, we're constantly changing the world, and it's how we show up, what we're doing, our actions. It's not, when we talk about spiritual practice and its practical application, it does, and I was getting ready to say evolution, it promotes evolution. It's by the way we live our life, the way we respond to life. My favorite person, one of my favorite people, I shouldn't say he's my favorite. I have a lot of favorites in the world, but Viktor Frankl,
Oh,
he
yeah.
reminds us that it really doesn't matter what happens to us in life. The question is, how do we respond? That supports us in our resilience and showing up. Because if we're breathing, we're here in this experience, it's important for us to remember and to go back again and again to principle. And when you go back to principle, it will support you. So it's all about the embodiment. And that only happens if you're willing to live it and breathe it. That's in my opinion.
Well, I'll take an order of that. Okay, now the next question sounds like it's the same question, but it's not. It's just a
Mhm.
little bit different. How does what you do at CFM, how you be at CFM, what you teach, how does that encourage, support, enhance, unveil, pick your own verb, world peace?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. And I truly believe that it takes one person at a time to be a tipping point in the world, to shift world peace. And it's just like going to Carnegie Hall, practice, practice, practice. And one of my favorite actions is eating elephants. And please know that I'm not going to eat a
Right.
real elephant. I will not eat a real elephant, but figuratively speaking, one bite at a time. It may be monumental, But if you do one bite at a time, go back to our yard, it's like, oh God, that's a big project. Just one bite at a time. One bite, one little thing. I picked up these lanterns. I said, oh, that will work perfect. I better get them now. I got those lanterns. And the next thing I knew, I had pavers. The next thing I knew, this showed up. That's the same thing about any part of your life. One bite at a time. One bite. It makes a difference. And that's how we create peace in the world. One person at a time.
Ooh, I love it. Okay, here's the next one. This is usually the favorite question. You need to close your eyes because you're going to use your imagination.
Okay.
Now, we are presuming that everything goes exactly the way you want it to go. Every little detail, every event, every relationship, every occurrence, every single thing in your whole life goes exactly the way you want it to go. 10 years from now, what does S.E.A.T FM and Reverend Jerry Hobby look like?
Oh my God, I get to apply a lot of Neville Goddard here, right?
Yes, you do.
I am just so excited. I'm so excited. I'm amazed at the growth and the evolution of this ministry. So many wonderful things have happened. We have touched the world in a profound way. As a result of that, so many great things are happening. There are programs, quality programs that we have established that are supporting people in their discovery of themselves, in living healthier and more profound lives. But the most important part of this whole process is that the world has changed and transformed, and it has gone back to its true essence. Peace has prevailed. We've overcome so many things, the rumors, the so called rumors of wars. We've quelled things that have taken place in the Ukraine, and people are living from a healthier space. Um, we're learning how to work together. Even in Gaza, we're learning how to work together. And we can come from various faiths, but we can work together in peace and harmony, and we can do great, great things in the world. And the thing that I'm most grateful for is for the growth of this organization and all the many lives that are being touched, how families have come together and are working together more harmoniously. I'm so grateful for our prayer team and all the work that they are doing, how they continue to support people right where they're at and to support them in growing and expanding and learning more about principle, how they can live it and how they can practice it in their daily lives. The thing that I'm most excited about is to see these wonderful people, young people, taking the baton and practicing these principles and living these principles, and also helping others in that whole process. I'm going to say this here. I have lived an amazing life, and I continue to live an amazing life.
Yes, you do. And I'm going to remind you 10 years from now of what you said. So
Okay.
here's my last question. Will you come back?
I will come back.
Okay, the first opening I have is May 6th of next year. Can I pencil you in?
You can pencil me in. And may I do a shameless commercial?
Absolutely.
Okay. I would like to invite everyone. I've talked a lot about celebrating our soul, but the most important thing I would love to invite you to do is to join us. And it is I did not mention this. We should have put up a banner for this, but we did not. And it's okay. We get to practice and live in a state of, I'm living in a state of self forgiveness. But I would love to invite you all to join us on June 22nd and that is at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So if you're in Dr. Sherry's time zone, it would be at 1 o'clock Central Time. I'm good at converting. So we're inviting you to come. We have a group of youth, 5 youth, that have some amazing things to share. This is called our Youth Summit, the Celebrating Our Soul Youth Summit, which is going to be extraordinary. And they're going to be sharing their thoughts with you about consciously creating change. And they're going to be focusing on the area of health and wellness. We're going to work on relationships, sacred activism, and prosperity. And in between there, you're going to receive some wonderful gifts. You're going to experience the talent of our youth, which is amazing. We have some young people that will be sharing their musical talents. And it's going to be extraordinary. I'm just saying it's extraordinary. The songs they've chosen, the intention. Our theme is to know thy history is to know thyself, why I matter. We're going to find out why they matter. This is part of how we shift the world and how we create that space of wholeness in the world. So 10 years from now, you get an opportunity to see the roots that have already been laid for these things to unfold. So I'm so grateful for that. So please join us and come and support our youth in a rich and a very powerful way.
I think so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much for agreeing to be here. This has just been wonderful. And I want to let everybody know that next week's going to be equally wonderful because our guest is Reverend Dr. Tracy Brown from Reclaim Joy. And I know you're going to love her because I do. And I'm a really good judge of character. For now, have a great week and we'll see you then. Bye-bye. I love you.
Amazing, amazing, you will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing, you will do amazing things.
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. Please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought Media Network. Come be you. And please